This was the profit. They actually made more profit on streaming than Disney did with D Plus and Hulu, with 2/3 the number of subscribers.
Renegade Online.
But one of the things on this report that jumped out at me that I thought was encouraging, apart from the fact that they have some of the most popular original TV shows still by far, along with Paramount Plus and Netflix, of course, up at the top, right? But what struck me, Jonas, and I don't know at what point you came in on this one, but if you look at, let's see, I don't think it was, here we go, streaming. Check that out. 339 million is their operating income, the EBITDA.
What an interesting number right there.
Just a few million more than Disney, wasn't it? Yesterday.
Yeah. This is revenue, not that's operating
EBITDA.
income.
This is EBITDA. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what we made. This was the profit. They actually made more profit on streaming than Disney did with D Plus and Hulu, with 2/3 the number of subscribers. So what I was saying earlier in the call, this is the key. This is where the headroom factor comes in.
Yeah.
And what's apparent to me is, Disney has its 180 million combined subscribers. They're finally just seeing numbers like this, whereas Max is seeing them at a much lower threshold of subscribers, meaning there's a lot more headroom for them to boost this type of profit margin as they continue to grow. Plus, their growth rate right now is about double that, right? They said 5.5 million new subs in the quarter for their streaming service. Disney Plus and Hulu combined was 2.5 million, I think, in the quarter for Disney Plus and Hulu combined. So again, if they can maintain that growth trajectory, and when you slap the fact in that Disney, the primary driving force behind them getting to that profitability metric, or one of the primary driving forces, big ones, has been the elimination of content spend.
Right. It's almost as if having an archive for your content is better than trying to. This is really what's interesting when it comes down to it. They're all trying to be HBO, all of them. Netflix is doing a better job of being HBO than Disney Plus. But back in the early days, Bob Iger said that Disney Plus is not going to be a content aggregation play because all of that was going to be on Hulu. Hulu was content aggregation. Peacock is mostly, it's the place where you can watch The Office and Psych and Monk and all these long-running TV shows. And Zaslav understands this. Why? How do I know he understands it? Because he said it.
Yeah.
That Discovery is well, he didn't quite say disengaged content. It's daytime content that people turn on and watch, and that's where you get the ad dollars. The premium content that gets people into the streaming service. Oh, I gotta watch that one. The Last of Us, White Lotus, Game of Thrones. The thing that gets you to subscribe is not what you actually watch on the streaming service. What you actually watch is Golden Girls over on Hulu, or
Right.
Friends over on HBO Max, which of course is, when we look at Tubi and those, they don't have to worry about your premium content. They know that they've got you for the thing that you're actually watching is the 10 seasons of Stargate or whatever like that. That's where they actually make their nut. So
the advertising side, and this kind of gives you a nice breakdown here. Because again, look, remember, this is what I like about Paramount, and this is what I like about Warner Brothers. They really kind of get specific when it comes to theatrical revenue. You can see clearly. You'll see that this afternoon on Paramount's earnings call. There will be a line item in there that says gross theatrical revenue, theatrical only revenue, and there will be a number next to it unless they've changed something. This is the way they've been doing it for years. And then you'll see total costs, and then you'll see, pardon me, hit the mic. Then you'll see total operating income from theatrical. You'll actually see a number, whereas companies like Disney will bury that in this amalgamous content sales and licensing. So you'll never actually see, for example, the massive theatrical failures like they had in that string of about a year in 2023 where they lost roughly $1 billion at the box office. Now they're already off to having lost about $500 million at the box office to the start of 2025 between Captain Falcon and Snow White. You don't see that. You will see that on a Paramount earnings report. Streaming, kind of the same thing. We actually see a breakdown. Like, we don't have to sit there and go, wow, Disney refuses to break out numbers between Disney Plus and Hulu for obvious reasons, because Disney Plus is probably still losing a ton of money. And they're going to have, I think this quarter is going to be the quarter that we're in right now, is going to be a little bit more rough for them to hold that pace. They might show a bigger number than they showed as far as profit. I'd be interesting to see if they can, because they're going to have to take a massive cost on the sheets here for Andor. You know, a very expensive show with a relatively small audience, not much better than, you know, a CW show from 10 years ago. So, I mean, that's the problem with it. But they have to keep that profitability metric going. But if you look here on the streaming segment, it really shows you, you know, get distribution, advertising. We've got that broken out. Subscriber related revenues, content related revenues. They really give you a nice breakdown here, and you can get to see everything cleanly, exactly how it's functioning. I would love to see the same level of detail here for Disney Plus and Hulu separately. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, that would be amazing. And then they could live up to their promises. They could prove that the 2021 investor promises that they made had actually come true, instead of just trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. I had to have a fight with a major analyst about whether or not Disney was actually telling the truth on Disney Plus profitability. And anyways, we won't get into that.
Yeah, no, I get it. But you look here, you can see a lot of the detailed domestic, international subs. I mean, you look at where they were a year ago, 99.6 million. You've had about a 5 million growth here in the US. So, you know, they're probably getting a little bit more to capacity there. No surprise. I mean, there's only so many households out there. International subscribers, you got about 5 million push up there. And like they talked about, they're opening in some bigger markets coming up in the next 12 months directly, as opposed to having to go through other affiliates or whatnot out there. So they've got a lot of headroom. And the big difference is, the really big differences between Warner Brothers here and what we've seen from Disney with Disney Plus. There's a lot of people watching the stuff on Max, that there is original content and otherwise. And Disney Plus's entire pot of survival is basically based around content that they don't own, Bluey. Again, the audiences they're dragging in for their really expensive shows just are not doing it. They're not getting anywhere close to what we're seeing from Netflix and Paramount and Max.
They're frequently getting clowned by cheaper content. So
Yes.
obviously, the strategy that I outlined just a minute ago of bringing people in with premium content, people actually have to be interested in that premium content in order for
Right.
that strategy to work.
That's it. That's it. And like I said, you know, we've talked about Hulu, who's had some great successes. And that's largely due to the fact of the people that came in with the Fox acquisition. It's not the Disney people per se, even though they are Disney people now, obviously. But a lot of those teams that came over from Fox were left intact to continue making that kind of product that was populating Hulu. There's also still a lot of stuff on there from Comcast that may or may not stay there long term. We don't know. But it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. And that's the big thing. But again, Warner Brothers doesn't have, you know, 60 billion a year in revenue from parks and hotels and cruise ships. And that's the other big thing. And that's why the sensitivity here for them is much greater as more people continue to cancel cable subscriptions. It's going to impact them much harder. Same thing with Comcast, right? And from that standpoint, because they are primarily a cable service, a phone service, and an internet broadband delivery company. It's very, very different dynamics for all of these companies. That's why it's so hard to make direct comparisons. But that's why I like to dial into these little segments here. Like, okay, what did streaming do? What did theatrical do? And of course, putting it in proper comparative light understanding that, well, this company spends way more than this company. And this company should be doing better because it already has way more subscribers. Or this company should be doing better because it puts out 5, 6, 7 massive blockbuster tent poles in the theater every year, whereas Warner Brothers doesn't. They put 2 or 3, that kind of thing. So there's always those kind of things you have to look at comparatively from that standpoint.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.